Welcome to Dysfunctionally Yours, the podcast where we embrace the chaos, laugh through the struggles, and find hope on the other side of trauma. I'm your host, Brittany, and if you've ever felt like your life was a beautifully messy roller coaster of dysfunction, trust me, you're in good company. Here, we'll have real, raw, and sometimes ridiculous conversations about mental health, relationships, and healing, because let's be honest, life isn't always pretty, but that doesn't mean we can't come out of it stronger and maybe even smiling. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of bubbles, and let's navigate this wild journey together, dysfunctionally, but never alone.
Some people want to die on the hill of politics or religion, but me, personally, I'm going to fight to the death on whether or not you wave to say thank you if I let you merge into traffic. Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Dysfunctionally Yours. I'm your host, Brittany. This week, we are going to be talking about the petty hills that we choose to die on, the tiny, absolutely unnecessary, completely insignificant things that somehow feel very significant. We all have them. Don't lie. Don't lie. No judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone. Okay. And let's be clear that being petty does not mean being mean. It's not revenge. It's not cruelty, right? Being mean or being petty. Being petty is when something small bothers you, like way more than it should. And you decide then that you're going to stand your ground on that. You are going to keep digging your heels in over that one. It's this dramatic loyalty to something stupid, knowing that it's not life or death, but you're going to make it be that way. Petty is basically having a personality hobby of being overinvested in utter and complete nonsense. So if the drama queens will please step forward. It's okay. I see you. I see you. We did some polls. I really like polls. The polls are so much fun. So we did some polls. There are some write-ins. It turns out you guys were all a little bit shy about sharing what you're petty about. Like, if we can't talk about what we're being petty on, I don't even know what we're doing here, right? Like, we just need to be able to say it. But that's okay. I have enough for all of us. But before we get into it, let's start with a ache and relief of the week. My ache of the week, I did not get therapy this week. Yes, that is my ache. That is my ache. I had to cancel therapy. I had a last minute, well, not even last minute, I'm lying. I had a work situation come up that I tried for a week to get out of, in some of the making some of the pettiest comments necessary, like just genuine. Like, I was so mad that I was going to have to cancel a doctor's appointment of any type. I should not have to do that. And so it was not until like the day before therapy, I finally was like, I'm not getting out of this. Am I? I really need to call and cancel. Calling and canceling was like, oh my God, I was like a child throwing a temper tantrum about it. Like, I just really did not want to do that. That made me so sad. So I did not get therapy, and that made me sad. And that is my ache. I'm sure there's plenty of other aches, but like, I really like therapy and I didn't get to go. And that makes me unhappy. And I'll go next week. No worries. And my relief of the week, I think my relief of the week, probably is in part why my ache of the week came about, and why like that worked out the way that it needed to work out in that moment in time. And so I guess that's, a relief. At least it wasn't for no reason, right? But really, my relief of the week, I had a knock at my door the other morning ago, and somebody was like, hey, your cat's out here. And they weren't talking about my missing kitten. She is still missing. It is still an ache. But they were talking about Flurkin. Flurkin likes to travel the land. Flurkin likes to go outside. Flurkin likes to pretend that he's an outdoor cat, even though he's not. But with Kiwi gone missing, I definitely I made sure he has new chips, he has new things like that. I'm not losing any more cats ever again in the history of ever. So somebody came and knocked on my door. And while Flurkin wasn't actually missing, it did make me feel a little better about humanity, that there are good people in the wide world that really care about animals and they want us to be reunited with our little babies. So that was so nice of my neighbor. And also, whoever, I genuinely believe somebody has stolen Kiwi. Somebody just has her. They're like, oh, what a pretty little cat. I want to keep her for myself. I hope they're taking care of her. And if they could please release her and give her back to me, that would be cool too. So that's sort of my ache and relief. I know how much that you guys really enjoy like the inner workings of my like chaotic squirrel brain. Also, look at this toy that I have. I know that if you're listening, you can't see this toy that I have. It is a shark grabby toy. It serves not one purpose in the whole wide world. It can't pick up anything. Like, it can't do anything. But we were walking through the store and it was like a must have. And every time I see it laying around, it just makes me happy. So I have a shark grabby toy. Also invested in an alligator grabby toy shortly after this came in. So I have multiple grabby toys sitting on the coffee table that serve no purpose. But what? They make me happy. So that's cool. Do things that make you happy, even if there's not a reason. Also, I got some new wine glasses. Actually, I got some new champagne flutes for my birthday, and I was trying to make room for them. And so in trying to make room for them in my coffee wine bar, I also realized that inside of my coffee wine bar, I store ammunition. Why? Why? Why is that where I store ammunition? And where is the safe that it is supposed to be in? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question about where is the safe. I do know where everything that is supposed to be in the safe is, but I don't know where the safe is. So now I have a coffee, wine, ammunition bar. All of that obviously makes so much sense in the wine world, does it not? No, it does not. That's okay though. Also, we were out for pizza and we were sitting at the bar at the pizza place, and on their TV right in front of me is like, I don't know, some animal show, which gets my brain going. I know a lot of strange animal facts. Like I worked somewhere at one point that it like really benefited me to know a lot of strange animal facts. It could really de-escalate a situation to randomly be able to spout out random things. But I proceeded to get to see something on this TV and start talking about dolphins and their prehensile penises and how they just are like little grabby tools that can pull you in and grab you close. And so it went from me talking about, prehensile penises to toads that give live birth out of their back versus laying eggs, like just all kinds of stuff for like an hour. For an hour. So if you would like any random animal facts, hit me up. I know a lot of them for like a whole hour. I'm sure the bartender was like, "What on earth? Why does this girl know all of these things? And why is she talking about prehensile penises for so long over pizza and beer?" I don't know. That's just how I am. That's just how I am. So you're welcome for that. Okay. So into the episode, into the petty hills that we die on. And we're going to go with some of yours first because, we don't need to always throw me out there. So some things that came up in things that are just petty, that we think are petty, that they're the hills that we die on, back in parkers, like people that are reversing into their parking spaces. And I have to agree 9 times out of 10, because 9 times out of 10, people aren't good at it. They're just not good at it. And then they hold up traffic and they try too many times and they're too close to me or, whatever. My neighbor, she backs in all the time and her review mirror is constantly the thing that keeps my door from being able to open just because of where her door and my door sit. And I'm like, it makes me crazy. It makes me crazy. It's very inconvenient. When it comes to getting in or out of the car. But so this got written in, but like the back end parkers, like honestly, if you back into a parking space, I assume that you are also the same person that claps when the plane lands and the movie theater movie is over. And we hate that for you. We hate that for you. Again, if you are good at it, which most people are not, and you can just zip in, my son can just zip in and I'm like, that's insane. I cannot. But no, you clap and yuck. People that use reply all on a work email when it does not need to be, right? I don't understand why they send a mass email that's like, everybody, Susie Q had her baby. And then we're hitting reply all. Congratulations, Susie Q. Congratulations. Can't wait to meet the new bundle of joy. La, 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 la. What on earth? I am not Susie Q. I did not have a baby. Therefore, I do not need to be attached to your reply all to Susie Q. And the rest of the department doesn't need to know that you are saying, happy baby to Susie Q. So yes, there's a separate inbox in hell for the people that reply all unnecessarily. I agree. The middle brownie. It's funny. This is funny to me because I didn't really know it was a thing because I'm not a big brownie person. But the people talking about the middle brownie versus the edges, and that being this petty ass hill to die on, that what did it say? That the brownie edges and corners are edible drywall and they're only eating the middle part of the brownie. I would agree, even though I'm not a brownie person, but I'm that way with cinnamon rolls. I want the cinnamon roll. I want you to build them in a cinnamon pan in a circle. And I want there to be the one that was cooked in the middle that never touched the edge of a pan and is the most ooey gooey gross or ooey gooey deliciousness. Speakerphone in public. Speakerphone in public. Babes, I don't need to hear about your OBGYN appointment in Target. And if I do, I might have something to say to you. I might want to interject. Could you imagine walking by and if somebody actually got super petty on this hill and you're just over here talking and you're like, oh my God, Sarah, guess what happened? And my OBGYN wants to look into this and, blah, 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 blah. And the person next to you was like, well, I can smell it from over here. That's so inappropriate. I don't even know why I said that. I'm just saying we should not, we don't want to talk about private things like that on speakerphone. I just, yuck. Also, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't welcome. Well, it's because I didn't have therapy this week. I forgot where my filter was. And probably one of my biggest ones too is the returning of the shopping cart. Take your shopping cart back. Take your shopping cart back. I probably am going to be that petty person that says something. If you leave your shopping cart there, I'm probably going to be that petty person that says I hope that doesn't hit my car. Do your feet not work anymore? What's wrong with you? I very well might say something. I might be that person about the shopping cart, but take your shopping cart back. You pushed it all around and they have these stupid shopping cart corrals all over the place. Just push it there. Just push it there. You're never going to convince me that there's a reason that you should not push it there. Just put your cart away out of the common consideration for everybody else. Also, if you walk by me and I say hi, or I don't know, hold the door open for you or something like that, and I'm like, hey, thank you, and you don't respond, rude. Or if I hold the door open for you and you don't say thank you, rude. I might be like, you're welcome, as you walk by real obnoxiously. My friend, I said something like, oh, have a good night to somebody. They didn't respond. And he was like, good to hear it. Happy to hear it. That's so funny. There was not even a response. Yes, just it's I feel like my pettiness comes out the most whenever people are just like outright inconsiderate over little things that it doesn't take much. Doesn't take much to wave when I let you merge. It doesn't take much to say thank you if I hold the door open for you. Like, so nothing life altering, nothing life shattering. So anyways, I asked you guys for all of your own petty hills this week, because let's be honest, I know I'm not the only one. And you guys did not disappoint. That's where some of that other information came from. And actually, maybe you kind of did disappoint, because I really thought there would be so many more write-ins, but some people stayed really, really quiet. But that's okay. I have enough. So first write-in I got, I'll tell you a story about this one too. First write-in I got, it says, so I have this quirky thing where I will agree to something, maybe something I don't really want or like to do, and then I make it everyone else's problem. For example, when choosing where to eat with my in-laws, if they want Mexican and I want Italian, I'll say it's fine, and then I'll shut down, get really quiet, and then make comments like, well, we wouldn't have to wait for a seat if we would have gone to like whatever insert restaurant that I wanted to go to. Or one time where we sat outside, I hate the sun, and the entire time I sat with my hand shading my face, saying how warm it is. I agreed to sit outside even though I didn't want to, and then I bitched about it the whole time. So yes, those are all very petty responses, just so over dramatic. Just say the words that you want to say or don't. And also, this write-in, I know who sent this to me. This write-in, I know who sent it to me. And as I was prepping for the podcast, like a week after I got this write-in, I was like writing it on here from where I got it from. And I was like, oh my God, you're talking about me. I chose to sit outside for brunch one time. They agreed. And then absolutely did sit there shielding their face, talking about how hot it was. And I'm over here like a little sun baby. I love the sun. And yeah, I was like, oh my God, you were talking about me, you petty queen. What are you doing? Yes. Anyways, so that is funny. And I was like called out while they were calling themselves out. And that is hilarious. That is a funny story. People need to work to be happy. And I was like, what do you mean? Tell me more. And it was just the idea that people need to have goals and accomplishments, financial independence. And they said, like, you need to be able to do all of these things or you're not actually happy. You can have two of the three of them and not be happy. And that is their strong belief, hill they're going to die on. And I support you in this hill. I support it. Crocs being bad for your feet. I think that question was like, what is the pettiest argument you've ever gotten into? And it was over like Crocs being bad for the feet. I'm not gonna get into that particular argument. I think your Crocs on your feet are bad for my eyeballs. I think I will repeat it. I think that your Crocs on your feet are bad for they are bad for my eyeballs. So whether they're bad for your feet or not is inconsequential to me, but they're bad for my eyeballs. And I also think that they should not just be worn at all, period. And that is the Croc hill that I will die on. I will. Some of the polls that had, I was really a lot of them had the same, like the answers that I would imagine people would have. But one of the polls was kids belonging in a nice restaurant or not. And 60% were like, no, nah, I'm not paying $500 for a dinner and there to be a child running around. And then 40% were like, sure, if you have them, bring them. And I'm like, that I agree. I do not want like my nice, lovely, very expensive dinner with a very nice glass of wine to be interjected by, a child launching a breadstick around or getting mad because, they're bored and ready to go. So, and I have kids. So I can say that. It's not like don't come at me like to be like, you must not have kids. I do have kids. I do have kids. Using the passing lane for anything other than passing. The people that said we can drive however we want in the fast lane, there's a special place. There's a special place somewhere for you, and you should get off of the road. Like, let us pass. Let me go zoomy zoom zoom in the fast lane. Don't sit there and drive under the speed limit in the passing lane. No, that makes me crazy. That makes me crazy too. And one of my own irrational petty hills. And this is so ridiculous. This is a special level of petty. I once upon a time ago, I decided that I hated the San Francisco 49ers as a football team. It didn't matter who they played, what they did, their existence. I was like, I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Why? Why do you ask? Not because it was a rival team, not for anything like that had anything to do with football, but because this one time I had a boyfriend, and he cheated on me with a girl who was a 49ers fan. And so me being able to just constantly be like, I hate the 49ers, fuck the 49ers, really was my own way of just being able to throw shade at this girl left, right, up and down. And nobody knew it. I mean, some people knew it. Actually, some people probably knew it, but there was not a reason. It's just petty to dislike something for the pettiest reason ever that has nothing to do with anything at all. So, that's petty for you. That is petty. I think with that, because I did ask, I thought it would be fun to be able to ask my best friends and my kids and stuff to be like, what is the pettiest thing I do? In getting some of that response, and not though anything that they said was wrong. In getting those responses, I was like, let's talk about what petty means. let's actually talk about what petty means, because people do throw the word around like an insult, but honestly, petty is kind of an art form. It kind of is. Sort of like sarcasm. Sarcasm can be, time and place, can be a lot of fun, be a little bit of its own art form. Being petty isn't about being cruel, and it's not about being vengeful or mean-spirited. It's when something small gets under your skin, and instead of letting it go like a normal, well-balanced, well-adjusted human, you decide, nope, this is my mountain now. And it's standing on the stupidest hill and planting your petty little flag in the ground and letting it wave proudly, right? Petty is refusing to lend your own pen to the coworker that keeps stealing it, or blocking somebody on Venmo because they did not pay you the $4.50 for your tacos. Petty is checking the toilet paper roll is over and not under, because you will not live like an animal, but then changing it in someone else's home. Have you ever done that? I have. I have actually changed somebody's toilet paper roll to be over versus under in their house. What? It's not even my house. Why? So the difference is that mean comes from malice, and petty comes from passion about nonsense, but it's still passion. Pettiness is also not necessarily the getting upset over boundaries that are crossed, lines, boundaries, expectations. You are allowed to be upset if those things are crossed. And so that's not being petty. Right? It's just not. Being petty is probably flipping the person off or cussing at them under your breath or loudly in the car because they aren't getting over fast enough. Who cares? Who cares? They can't hear you. You're not hurting them. You're not hurting anybody else. Right? But honestly, petty keeps life interesting. If we didn't care about the tiny things, then we would all be walking around as well-balanced, peaceful, and boring people. Boring people, right? You have your people that are laid back and these things don't bother them. And then you have these other people that are like, oh my God, take your freaking shopping cart back. What is wrong with you? Is that a fight you need to fight? No. Does that mean you're not going to fight it? No, it does not. It does not. So, nobody wants boring people, and we like a little bit of spice. We like it to be a little spicy, and that is the pettiness in the world. Pettiness brings spice. Agree or disagree? I agree. I agree with my own thought. All right, so I have a little bit like a lightning round, just a couple other things that were written in that we will throw out there that people, are saying is their petty thing that they're going to stand on. So, holding a grudge over being forced to sit in the back seat all the time, losing your place in a video game, like somebody else losing your place in a video game, leaving the shade down or up on the airplane. This one will get me. Like, if you can't be a responsible window shade operator, you can't sit at the window. Roommates labeling their food or locking it up. I guess I sort of get it, but also sort of not. Like, if you're going to eat something and it's that person's, I don't know, replace it or be like, hey, can I? I don't really know if I have a big passionate, like, feeling about that, but I can see why people would. Passive aggressive tow truck note to the neighbors for like where they park. I could see this. I could see this being like a huge annoyance. People pointing out tiny typos that don't matter. And people who pay to the penny on Venmo. And that one, I would be like, who fucking cares? Just Venmo it to me. Like, maybe I rounded up or maybe I rounded down. But at the end of the day, you're either saving yourself 50 cents or you're paying an extra 32 cents. Why do you need to pay $14.62? I agree. Like, give me my extra cents for, like, I don't know, the surcharge. Like, who cares? Who cares? That one would get me. And here is my very own favorite oatmeal raisin cookies. I think that only monsters eat rainbow or oatmeal raisin cookies. And I'm sorry, you might be the only villain in this story. For real. For real. Like, we're just not the oatmeal cookie thing. No. So yeah, maybe we are all a little bit petty, but at least we're entertaining. At least we're entertaining. And if you don't have a petty hill to die on, I don't know if I trust you. And then maybe you need to go bake yourself some oatmeal raisin cookies and think about your life choices. I think because it got mentioned so many times, like as people were writing in, and I was like, oh, these things aren't petty. These are like boundaries being crossed. These are lines being crossed. I was like, next week, this just segued right into a really nice episode about boundaries. So next week, we'll start to talk about boundaries. So, in the meantime, new episodes drop every single Monday on all streaming platforms. So, go check those out. And if you want the unfiltered chaos, YouTube has a slightly more raw, much less edited version. So, you can go check that out. Like, follow, and subscribe. Do all of the things because people need people, and that's how we keep people around. And if you're feeling very, nosy, opinionated, want to get in on some of these polls, have a lot to say, then go ahead and follow on the TikTok and Instagram page at Dysfunctionally Yours podcast. And you can get in on those polls, the surveys, the write-ins, and of course, that anonymous Google form, which is linked in all of the bios. So until then, Dysfunctionals, don't be afraid to be great. Toodles, poodles, goodbye.